What are the keys to success when preparing for a PI planning event, which is also referred to as big room planning? I've facilitated many PI planning events over the years, and I tend to see the same pitfalls and anti-patterns emerge. So I wanted to share some insights to ensure you get the most out of your next event. The best part? These are all practical insights that you can immediately put into practice. Keep watching. Hey, it's James Halpin here, and welcome back to another episode of Agile Soundbites, where we explore bite-sized insights that will help on your Agile journey. Facilitating a 2-day PI planning event for up to 125 people can be a very daunting prospect, particularly if you haven't done it before. But you don't have to worry anymore, because in this 2-part video series, I'm going to share 4 key insights that will set your next PI planning event up for success. Make sure to stick around to the end, as I'm going to give you a sneak peek of the bonus insight that I'm going to share with you in part 2 of this series. You won't want to miss it. And while you're watching today, make sure to let me know what your favourite PI planning tip is down in the comment section below. It's always great to hear everyone's experience with PI planning, and your suggestion may help other people take their event to the next level. Before we jump into the key insights, we need to clarify 3 important terms, as this will help bring insights to life, beginning with number 1. What is an Agile release train? Well, an Agile release train, which is abbreviated to ART, is a long-lived team of Agile teams that is typically 50 to 125 people in size. Along with other stakeholders, an ART will collaborate together to incrementally develop, deliver, and where applicable, operate one or more solutions in a value stream. So put simply, you can think of an ART as a persistent program of work that's made up of cross-functional Agile teams and other stakeholders that are dedicated to building one or more solution. In other words, an ART is not a random collection of part-time teams, but rather a dedicated group of teams that are all working on a common solution. Number 2. What is a program increment? Well, a program increment, or PI as it's abbreviated to, is a fixed time box of 8, 10 or 12 weeks. Now, as 12 weeks aligns well with quarters, I tend to see the 12-week time box used a lot more often than not. However, it's good to know that a PI can be 8, 10 or 12 weeks. Over this time box, an Agile release train will deliver incremental value by building and validating a full system increment, demonstrating value, and getting fast feedback. You can think of a PI this way. In the same way as an iteration is to an Agile team, a program increment is to an ART. Number 3. What is PI planning? Program increment planning, or PI planning as it's called, is a 2-day event where all members of an ART, so in other words up to 125 people, come together face to face in a big room to collaborate and plan out what they think they can deliver over the next program increment. In other words, what they think they can deliver over the next 8 to 12 week period. PI planning is a cadence-paced event. In other words, we do it once every PI. And in this way, it becomes the heartbeat of an Agile release train. And it's critical in aligning all the teams on the ART to a shared mission and vision. So at this point, you're probably thinking, does it really make sense to pull 125 people together in the same room for 2 days to plan out the next 8 to 12 weeks? Sounds crazy, right? Well, it certainly can be crazy, but if it's done right, then it's an incredibly valuable event. Now that we're clear on what an ART, a PI, and PI planning is, let's jump straight into the first key insight. Insight number 1, get clear on the purpose. Most people think that the purpose of the PI is to plan out the next 8 to 12 week PI, and they're sort of right, but there's a catch. Let me explain. It's often assumed that the purpose is to create a plan and lock it down, and in the process have the teams commit to their stories. But let's take a step back and think about that for a second. Stories are used by teams to help them get a shared understanding of what they need to deliver, and we know that over time that some stories will inevitably change as we learn more. Some may get ripped up and others will just emerge. So if we get the teams to commit to the stories over a PI, we've effectively turned the whole process into waterfall by doing all the planning up front. Yikes! The real purpose of a PI is to gain alignment amongst all team and members of the art. This is done by collaborating together over the course of 2 days in a carefully choreographed and facilitated event. Over the course of the 2 days, teams will create a set of PI objectives, and it's in fact these objectives we really want them to commit to, not the stories that they create. So then what are PI objectives? Well, simply, PI objectives are a summary of the business and technical goals that an Agile team or a train intends to achieve in the PI, and they're a way for the teams to clearly articulate and commit to the value that they will be delivering without having their hands tied by committing to the stories which we know are going to change and emerge over time. Okay, now that you've got a good idea of the first key insight, which is to get clear on the purpose of PI planning, I want to give you a sneak peek on the bonus insight that I'm going to share with you in part 2 of this series. The basic unit in a traditional organisation is the individual, and the heroics of individuals as they work long hours to meet seemingly impossible deadlines become immortalised in the corporate culture, and these heroes are rewarded accordingly. But as companies transition to Agile, the basic unit has shifted from the power of the individual to the power of the team. And as we look to scale our efforts from individual teams to a team of teams, which is what an Agile release train is, another shift needs to occur, and that is moving from a team to a tribe culture. Be sure to tune in to part 2 of this series to learn more. Well, that's it for part 1. I hope you enjoyed this Agile soundbite. If you did enjoy this bite, then please like or share it and help build the Agile soundbite community. Do you have any tips on running a successful PI planning event? If so, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments area below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you in part 2 of this series on PI planning. Bye for now.